All right.
You too.
Hello, everybody. We are live for episode 49. Oh my gosh. One episode away from 15, dude. Like,
Yeah.
every time I say it, I'm like, oh my God, one episode. I'm gonna go tomorrow and pick up some stuff for episode 50. So I'm really excited. But I'm so excited we get to do this. And I just want to say, like, I really always think the episodes were timely. By you, not by the whole mix up last time with the scheduling. I don't know if you got to see it, but my daughter got to share her story. Hey, it happens. Like, listen, It happens. Life happens. It's okay. And that's why I always say, like, everybody that's meant to be on the show ends up coming on the show. You know, and I think everybody gets, I think their episode is the episode they're meant to be on. So it's always great. So everybody, as you come in and say, hey, let us know where you're coming from. Please make sure to interact if you feel called to. Please share the show. I would love to continue pushing the show out further so that I can get more amazing women on. Before we dive into that, also for any woman who is interested, I'll say this again at the end of the show. The show has open episodes still through February and March. So for any woman who is interested in coming on, please let me know, reach out, and I will get you set up for that. But I'm so excited to have my guest on tonight. She was, we talked a little bit. She was going to be on episode 48, but instead my daughter was, which was really neat because this is what I was going to say. I have been wanting my daughter to share her story for like a year. I'm like, I bet you this, I feel like this would help you. And she got on here and she shared her, you know, a very large piece of her story. I was very proud of her. So it was a really good thing for us. So I am excited though. I'm going to dive right into this. So yeah, everybody show some love, drop lots of hearts, likes, say, hey, make sure you interact, ask as many questions as you want to. If you want to chill there, then that's cool. If you catch us on the replay, push hashtag replay. And just remember, we are streaming live on YouTube as well. So follow us at Tough Woman Table, you guys. I went a little bit back and forth and decided that the YouTube is just going to be the table for right now. And I think that's a great thing. So Cheney says, hey, Cheney, thank you for being on. Cheney was on, I don't remember her episode, but Cheney was on the show as well. So I always love to see the women who have come on to the show before come and support the other women. So without further ado, I'm going to drop into my epic intro and then we are going to get going, y'all. So hello and welcome to the Tough Woman Table episode 49, you guys. 49. Like, oh my gosh. So this is the table where I invite some super badass tough women like Samantha here to take a seat and join in on the conversation and share her amazing story. At Tough Woman, I believe that all women have the power within themselves to live life authentically, free from fear, confident in who they are, and empowered as hell to go out and get whatever success looks like to them. I share this belief by championing tough women who have walked through the fire, felt the fear, faced adversity, and kept pushing through it all. You know, women who now live the life they want as the woman they were created to be. Women who own their stories so that other women can embrace and own theirs as well. Because as I always like to say at the beginning of this, when we give ourselves permission, and this has been something that's come up for me lately, but when we give ourselves permission, we give somebody else permission in the same breath. So, I get to actually listen in for once. That's good, Cheney. So I feel like, you know what? Maybe you're the one woman who needs to be on the show tonight, you know, like listening. So without further ado, I want to introduce my amazing guest, Samantha Justine. Samantha and me, I'm not sure how okay. I remember how we met now. We met in an entrepreneur networking group, and I was looking at creating a quiz, which I'm still doing. Through ClickFunnels, and Samantha was lovely enough to reach out and give me a tremendous amount of value in regards to that. And so she is incredibly knowledgeable for anybody who operates within ClickFunnels and funnels and courses and stuff like that. So she was just a wealth of knowledge, and I'm incredibly appreciative. And then she's like, hey, I'd love to do your show. So without further ado, before we go, kids went to bed on time.
Wow.
Without further ado, I'd like to introduce my guest, launch strategist. Oh my gosh, this is exciting. Samantha Justine.
Hi guys. Hi everyone. It's nice to be here. And you know what? I was supposed to be here last week. There was just a mix up in schedules, and like Ashley said, things happened. It was meant to happen, I guess. And now we're here. So thank you for having me, Ashley.
You're welcome. So tell everybody just a little bit about what a launch strategist is, because I know I talked a little bit about the funnels. So tell everybody a little bit about what it is that you do, and then of course we're going to do my all-time favorite jump off, and that is how you got to where you're at now.
So right now, currently, I'm helping entrepreneurs create a wider impact and reach the people that they want to help with, and at the same time, increase their income by turning their expertise into a profitable course. So usually, a lot of people are like having a hard time with getting started with launching a course. It's because there's just too many steps that you need to take to get there. And I think a lot of people mistake that because there are a lot of gurus out there teaching different things and what they should do and sharing tips and strategies and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, there should be like a specific framework that you need to follow. One of the mistakes that a lot of people make is they create the course first and then they complete the content, they build the funnel for it, and then they start marketing. So, and they would be surprised if it didn't work and it flopped when they took so much time creating it. Like that's their baby, that's their knowledge and effort and expertise put into a course. And then for it to flop, it just, of course, I understand that it hurts them and sometimes they just give up. So I teach them the proper way to do it without even having to, especially if it's their first time to launch a course, I teach them how to properly do it, even if you don't have an email list, you don't have to run any Facebook ads for it, and of course you don't need to create complex funnels. That's what I'm about, and I want to simplify the launch process of creating an online course. And of course we inject some principles of copywriting there as well, because I also do copy, I'm a copywriter. And that definitely helps bring the message to the people that they want to reach out to so they can make a difference in their lives. And at the same time, while making a difference in their lives through their courses, they also make a good amount of money from it.
That is you know, and I like that. Actually, I was reading the post that you wrote today about how they do it backwards and how, and you know, you first thing you did was you built a community, and that's something that you know, I think especially in the coaching industry are taught right out the bat. It's like, oh, build your offer, you know, and it's the one thing that I've learned is, and this is something that I was lucky enough to learn, was do the client discovery first. Like no matter how long that takes you, do that first, and then to build your product off of that. So to hear that message being touted is really wonderful, because I don't think there is enough emphasis. It's like, oh, do a course, or oh, do this, or oh, send out this ebook, or it's like, but is that solving anything, or is that just adding more noise to the, you know, to the chatter? So tell us, this is actually the jumping off point. So what is the story behind you getting to there where you're at now, and what did that look like?
Well, yeah, actually, like I mentioned on my post as well, this is the first time for me sharing this. Well, most of the people know who've known me before actually knows the beginning of the story, but there are a couple of things in the story that were very eventful turning points for me. So the first one was where I was in college. Actually, I was already in my fourth year. I was about to graduate and mastering marketing and management. And on my fourth year, I was already like starting to question myself. Like I didn't know what I was going to do after I graduated, because most of the people who have graduated with a degree of marketing, their starting point is either you get into sales and you start at the bottom, especially when there's a huge amount of unemployment. You know, it's hard to compete, like, especially if you're just starting out, it's hard to compete and join these huge organizations or companies. And most people start out like maybe as a cashier on a grocery store, a sales lady on a department store, and nothing wrong with that, but I just felt like I was meant to do something more. And I just felt so confused about what I wanted to do at the time, especially like you're graduating, what happens now, what happens next. And there came a point where a friend of mine actually reached out to me, and she told me that, hey, there's this guy who wants to start, who has a business online, and he needs help with his online chat support. And this is me, my first time getting into the internet marketing industry. So I thought, like, why not? I mean, this was a time also when the internet was getting a lot of traction already, like it's becoming more and more accessible. So I figured, like, hey, why not try it out and see what this has to offer to me? And I started working out as an online chat support as a virtual assistant for this guy. And I immediately understood like the potential it had working online, because I was making a pretty decent living just by working with the client that I had before. I used to call him my boss. So yeah, that's how I really got started with working online. And I was actually pretty happy and content, just making enough money like every month to buy the stuff that I need, to buy to put on the table and stuff like that. And when I realized that this was the internet was becoming such a huge opportunity, I actually ended up dropping out of school, didn't even graduate because I wanted to focus my whole attention to shifting my work online. So yeah, I spent a couple of years working as a virtual assistant first. That was back in 2008, and during that time, I was just learning all these different things and skills, hoping that if I learn more skills, then I get more clients. So I learned social media marketing. I learned basic admin tasks, like virtual assistant tasks as well. My first gig that I really took seriously, because I actually, this is about 2008, I eventually lost the job with that client. It's because it was the recession. So unfortunately, his company was bought out, and he also had to let us go, me and another girl who was working with him. So all of a sudden, like, oh my God, like, where am I going to get the money that I was earning from? Like, I didn't graduate. What's gonna happen next? Like, I was so lost, and I didn't really know what I was going to do at the time. So my next gig with working online was becoming an article writer. Like writing articles for 500 words at like $4. And I remember I was really charging really low at the time, because I just wanted to. I didn't see myself working in the corporate world, because I already saw the potential online. So I was willing to even make less online, because I knew there could be growth here. So I started out with being an article writer, $4 an hour. No, actually $4 per article. So I would spend like hours, or maybe like 8-10 hours writing articles just to make enough money each month. And then it blossomed into a full-time virtual assistant work, where I handled my clients' calendars, emails, and eventually he let me handle his social media, and I started doing social media management after that. And I was actually pretty lucky, because most of the clients that I get to work with, they shared their resources with me, so I could also learn. So it was beneficial for me and them, because whatever I learned, of course, is something that would help assist them and support them in their business. And of course, it's additional knowledge and expertise for me. So yeah, it was, the first event was mostly because I was in a position where I was in a crossroads in my life, and it just so happened that someone, a friend of mine, introduced me to working online, and I didn't really think that this would be where I would be today if it weren't for my friend. But the growth actually didn't happen until another event. So I guess we'll touch on that later. So yeah.
And it's funny how I feel like one of the common threads through everybody's story is like when you talk about going through all this stuff in life, it's always that common thread of I just knew that there was something more in my life. And Cheney, real quick on it, she said, I learned that backwards. And just stepping back a minute, she talked about the whole making the product before you figure out what the actual problem is. So I think, Cheney, that just I want to touch on this from what I've seen. A lot of people, that's the message, like just get something out of there, like put something out there. And that's something that I've had to really come across is like, okay, am I just adding to the noise more, or am I providing a solution to a problem? Now, like looking at something I have created, it's like, okay, moving forward, what's actually going to give people value versus what I just want to release. So yeah, I think a lot of people have learned that backwards. But yeah, moving back forward. The one thing I've noticed is that we were meant, we all feel that in our hearts that there's something more to life. And how do you feel like that was a common theme throughout your whole life? Just knowing like there has to be something more for me than where I'm at right at this moment.
Well, yeah, I think so. Especially when I was during my even high school. Actually, I was a valedictorian in our high school. So that was I actually knew that time that hey, I think I meant to do great things. And then college came around. It was such a culture shock for me because at the time when I was in high school, I actually came from a small church school as well. So and of course, besides being taught education, we were also taught religion and spiritual stuff at the same time, and I think that also helped in instilling values in me to believe in myself and to know that I have a God-given potential that I need to use and apply, and that's pretty much what I did. And even like with the things that I did with school, of course I'm not perfect, there are also some times where I'm feeling lazy and I'm not doing anything, but for the most part or the general part, I have felt like I had really great potential to do something more. And I think that came I started doubting myself the moment I came to college because it was such a huge culture shock for me. When I went to our college, the setup from my church school to being with a huge number of people around me who I felt didn't hold the same values that I did, it made me question like a lot of things. So I kind of like shrunk into myself, and I was pretty much unsure during college what I was meant to do because I was told to do a lot of things. I was supposed to have a scholarship as well, a full scholarship because being a valedictorian and all that. And I was advised, I didn't know what to take up in college at the time. And someone said, hey, a lot of people are getting jobs at accounting. So why not take your master's with accounting as well, or study accounting instead? So I took their advice because that's what they said. And I was, again, at the time, unsure about what I want to do. I was still young. And then after the first semester, I quickly realized, like, hey, I'm not good at math after all. So why did I take this this course. So I lost my scholarship, and I feel like I shrunk into myself, and I doubted myself even more. But that one opportunity that my friend represented to me, and the moment that I got to try that out and experience working as well, being in that startup environment, made me realize like, hey, there's something here that other people aren't seeing yet. So yeah, that's sort of like led me in that direction. It was even by accident that got me to this.
And you know, I feel like these things are never accidents. They look like accidents,
Mm-hmm.
but it's always like that direction. Like, okay, here you go. Like if I hadn't put this in front of you, you probably would have you may have never seen it. And that's
Yeah.
how, I feel like that's the one of the other common threads as well. It's like we walk into this. I really
Mm-hmm.
don't, especially going through this now. I don't know that if you had told me, like, looking at the overall journey, like, all right,
Mm-hmm.
looking at everything, you sure you still want you sure this is what you would choose to do? Because it's
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, all this work, this work, this is what I would have done. But so I always feel like it looks like an accident, but it never really is. It's like if it hadn't happened, then we may not be like,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
now I'm curious. So what was the second event? Because you're like, there's another event. Oh God. Okay.
Yeah. Well, because I think let's say God or the universe is always like trying to push you to the best version of yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but the time that I got started working with online, I got complacent because I was just happy, like earning a living. So, yeah, and just making enough for myself. But I wasn't really pushing myself hard or pushing myself enough. I was just content and comfortable. I was in my comfort zone. So the second event was more relationship actually. Again, coming from a church school, we were taught like, hey, you shouldn't be in a relationship yet until you're sure you want to be with one specific person that you want to marry. It was very fundamental where I came from, like in our upbringing with our religion. So I finally like at 20 or 21, I finally met this guy. Of course, as someone who's working online and I'm introverted as well, I spend a lot of time on the internet. So I met this guy online, and then we started chatting, and we actually, got to know a lot about each other. We started talking for about like 5, 6 months, and then he decided to move where I'm from. So yeah, that was, I thought to myself like, hey, this guy must really be pretty serious about me to actually move here and to want to be with me. So I was already like looking further ahead with our relationship at the time. But we were still young, pretty young. And yeah, I was so young and so in love at the time. And it got to the point that it's like my whole world revolved around this person because it was my first time being in a real relationship. And yeah, he stayed with me for 7 months, and he had to move back and travel back to his country because he's from France. And during his stay in France and me being here, I started being a little bit too obsessive and possessive about him. Every time he goes out, every time he didn't message me, I would obsess like, hey, why didn't you message me? Why didn't you call me? And I think that he noticed as well that it seems like all my attention and my focus was already all around him. It was suffocating him, I think. And and I didn't understand it at the time. I thought that was supposed to be what love is, like being around each other all the time, talking with each other all the time. And one day he just messaged me and he broke up with me. And he told me that he just wanted to focus on work and that he just wanted to remain friends. That's it. So that totally shattered me. Of course, like it was my first relationship, my first real relationship with anyone, and I felt so depressed. Um, like I thought I was a nice girl. I didn't do anything wrong. I'm not the type of girl who would cheat. I'm not the type of girl who would yell when I'm mad. I thought I was a nice girl. And why would someone break up with me? I didn't understand. It was only after, of course, it took some time before I realized that as well. And yeah, when he said that he was going to break up with me because he wanted to focus on work, I felt like, hey, maybe if I also focus myself with my work, maybe he'd be attracted to me again and he'd want to get back together with me. So I put all my effort, my time and effort to working as well. So I went back full force with working online. Um, I worked with different clients. I tried all the jobs. Like I said, I went back to article writing. I worked as virtual virtual assistant part-time for different clients. I was working with 3 or 4 or 5 clients at a time. And little did I know that with me trying to find my self-worth by proving myself to him, I was actually discovering my self-worth more and more. And I was, instead of trying to do it for him, I was actually started doing it more for myself. Um, and I realized that, yeah, like after years of breaking up, actually we remained friends for some time as well. We were still talking with each other, but after some time, like I realized, maybe I wasn't such a great girlfriend to him after all. I had a lot of insecurities. That's why I made him my life, and it was bad for him, but it was also bad for me because I lost my identity in the process. So the moment where I started getting back to work and focusing my energy in working, that I realized that, hey, I'm doing this because this is what I'm good at. I just lost myself in the process while I was in that relationship, and I was too immature to be in that relationship at the time. And yeah, instead of starting to prove myself to him, and if to prove that I'm worthy to be with him, I shifted that energy and started to focus that energy and realize that my own self-worth of what I'm capable of. And the moment that happened, of course, when things start to align, some things happen and you meet people in your life, and certain things happen that are presented to you. So there was this one life-changing self-development seminar that we attended to. It's called Ikepono. Is a Hawaiian version of like knowing who you really are deep down inside, because a lot of the things happen in our lives that we get lost, we lose ourselves in the process, like heartbreak, doubt, or all that stuff. And when I got to that, it was like super empowering because I found my inner self and my inner voice. And when I started listening to that more, it gave me more direction of where I actually want to be, not just working for the sake of trying to prove to others that I'm a worthy person or trying to prove myself that I'm a worthy person. When I got to that program, I realized that I, I already am. I don't have to prove myself to others, and I also don't have to prove something to myself anymore, because I know that I am. I know that I am a great person, and I know that I am good at whatever I put my mind into. And it became a matter of like self acceptance for me. And the moment that I got through that live seminar, things changing pretty fast for me in my business. So then I started building my own agency. Of course, I started a couple of different agencies. Some of it didn't work out, but of course, failure is part of the process. You learn from it, and then I started different ones that I found resonated more with what I wanted to actually do, and if and the things that I would do would be beneficial to other people out there. So because I was pretty good at the freelancing industry at the time, and people were seeing that I was traveling around the world. I was traveling around Europe. I was traveling around America. They were starting to ask like how I was able to do that, and so I started sharing my message to a lot of people, and not just message, but I was also teaching them how to take advantage of this opportunity, because I was actually pretty blessed, and very lucky and fortunate to be part of the first people who took advantage of working online back in 2008. So now I want to share them that equal opportunity as well, so they can start making more income working online. So I started doing workshops around the city at first, and some people were starting to ask me from different cities to hold the workshops there. And I figured, in terms of time and cost, it wasn't just like very realistic for me to be traveling everywhere, because I'm still also working with my clients online. So I figured, what would be the best way for me to teach other people and help them get started with working online. So that's where I came across about how putting your online course. I took online. I took Neil Patel's course with Advanced Marketing Program. That's when I started getting into ClickFunnels as well, and into copywriting, because I quickly realized it's not enough for you to just create a course and build a course. You need to have a process or system to automate delivering your program to your people. So that's how I got into sales funnels. And then after that, I also realized, like, hey, having a sales funnels is not enough. You need to have a better way to deliver the message that you have to your people, that they would understand the value that you're sharing with them. And that's how I got involved with copywriting. So yeah, I at the time, because I wanted to help more people, and I wanted to create, and like I said, an impact with more people to help and give them this opportunity. I started my community first. I reached out to other people who were already in certain groups, and they started seeing what I was doing, and I was just sharing value for free for these different groups, and I got started getting invited with different Facebook Lives or podcasts and stuff like that. And then after that, that's when I started my own group, because people wanted to know more about what I had to share. And yeah, that community, I was able to grow from a small group of 20 or 20, 80, then 100, and then 500. And in less than a year, I was able to grow that group to 7,500 members to this day. And yeah, that's because even if I'm selling my courses with them, my message has always been helping them out with an opportunity to actually make more money than what they're currently making right now. And now, since more and more people actually saw what I was doing with funnels and copywriting, um, I also ended up getting more premium clients as well that were coming to me, and that led into me getting into online courses and helping them out launch their own online courses, because I actually started with funnels first before, just creating a sales funnel, lead gen funnel, creating a sales funnel strategy for my clients, injecting copywriting into it. But more and more, the clients that are coming to me, they usually need assistance with online courses. And since they knew I was able to do that for my group, and until now, I'm still launching courses with them like once or twice a year, and they still keep buying. And it's because without me having to run like ads or having an email list, and I'm able to make that happen because the group that I have is not just for numbers. I didn't grow that group to just have more numbers. I grew that group because I had a mission for it. So because of that, because of me focusing on sharing to others, it also brought back a huge part of uh, good things into my business as well. So now I'm prepared because instead of focusing on just funnels and copywriting, I'm prepared to help more people, because I know, especially people, there are a lot of people there with a vision and a mission to help others. They just don't know how they're supposed to. Oh my God, sorry about that. They just don't know how to bring this message to them and how to reach out to them. So I wanted to share again that same opportunity I had with this group, that what opportunity it had for me. And I want to share to others the process that I did and how they can also do the same. So yeah, pretty much these two events in my life the were the life-changing events that I had. And I could say now, like, I'm happier where I am. Like, it's not perfect. There are days where I still have bad days. There are still things happening in the background, but I feel I have a more stable and firm foundation underneath me. And I'm ready to move things forward, and I'm ready to reach out to help more people. So, yeah.
I first want to point out the progression of how it looked, because there's so many things that come out with this show, but I love the fact that we rip off that veil that success has to be instant. And we forget about how important the foundation is. And how, like, to me, real definitive success is not the kind that is built in 30 days. And I say that because I've talked to entrepreneurs. I talked to one entrepreneur, a woman, and she never ended up coming on the show. I need to reach back out to her. I built my company to 6 figures in less than 6 months. And she said, but because I had not built the foundation, I was not prepared to handle that level of success, and I let it burn to the ground. Burn. So for me to sit here and listen to you and other women say, yeah, this was a growth thing. This took me, you're like, I started in 2008, and we're in what, 2020 now? 12 years. So it's always a wonderful thing. Like, keep going. You know, if this is what you're in for, this is what you're in for. And the other thing I was going to say is, it's amazing how something like we go, all of us that have been on here, myself included, and that's especially relevant now. We have to go through this shattering of everything that we thought we knew that our life was. You know, everything that we thought we knew, and it shatters to the ground. But it's from that. Oh, I'm getting chills saying that. It's from that we rise up and we go, okay, well, this is really the person I was meant to be. Like, how pivotal was it for you to go through? Like, what do you feel were those things that got you through that point when you're like, everything that you know it as it is is shattered, and you're like, but I still need to pick up and keep going. Like, what were those things that kept you moving through that?
It's just I of course there were days also where I felt like I just didn't want to do anything, and I thought that maybe I'm just meant to be here and meant to stay like this and not progress. But I've always I think especially that seminar that I attended, the one that I mentioned, Ikebono, like the Hawaiian way of living. It really made a huge impact in my life because I knew that there are things in your life that's really going to break you down, but it doesn't mean that you have to like revel in misery or wallow in misery. I mean, because as humans, all of these things that were happening to us. Actually, I saw a post of a friend that she posted it on Instagram, and it's actually, I agree with her. She said, it's a quote, it is that life doesn't happen to you, it happens for you, which is a huge message because, you know, a lot of us are thinking that these things are, life is so unfair, things are happening to us all the time, like I'm such a good person, why is this, I don't deserve these things that are happening to me. But actually, if you shift your thinking and say, like, this is happening for me right now because this is trying to teach me a lesson. Or for me, the reason I kept on moving forward is because every time I feel that something bad is happening to me, or I feel like I'm stuck, or I feel unhappy or uncomfortable, like inside, I always go back to myself and ask myself, like, why? Asking myself why am I feeling this way? What is this teaching me, or what is this experience trying to tell me? So it's always like when I go through a bad experience, I always like take a step back instead of like, sure, I'm gonna allow myself to feel bad, you know. It's part of the process. You're supposed to feel bad. Otherwise, you wouldn't like take the time to actually step back and like analyze and think about why has this happened in the first place. What is this experience trying to tell you? So that's what, of course, I wasn't back in 2008 to 2014. I wasn't that much that self-aware. I was just going through the flow. But around 2014, that's where I started becoming more aware about the things that are happening around me. And of course, it's not always perfect. Like life happens and you get carried away by things that happen day to day. But whenever something pivotal happens in my life, it's like I always think like, why is this happening to me? It's not on a victim mode, you know. I'm not on a victim mode like, why is this happening to me? It's more like, what is this teaching me, and what is this trying to tell me right now? And what do I need to change in order to move forward? So instead of thinking about like pain and doubt and see them in a negative light, I actually see them more as like stepping stones and learning experience that will help me navigate where I'm supposed to be, to be realigned to the path that I was supposed to take. So yeah, if there's one thing that I also learned throughout all of this, um, you're never gonna know for sure what your calling is, because most of the time, like in movies, or even in the entrepreneurial industry, everybody's talking about, hey, you should know your path, you should know your calling. Um, if you've already found your calling, you should go through that. Sometimes you find your calling through an accident, our so-called accident, and it just happens and evolves through time. It's not like what they always say in the movies, like someone where someone is pursuing one specific goal, and then they get through challenges, and then they still come out successful in the end. Some people in life, and I think there's a lot of us out there who are unsure about what they want to do or where they want to go. But it's if you're unsure about where you want to be and what you want to happen with your life, just be open to what's happening around you, and try to see what it is trying to bring you, and take every opportunity that comes to your hand, because you never know that perhaps maybe that is your calling, or it could be something else. So yeah, originally I thought my calling uh, was to help more people in the freelancer industry, and I'm not saying that was wrong, but it was my mission, and at the time. But again, as humans, we evolve, and once we have accomplished something, our mission changes. It's part of our growth as well. So yeah, that's how I usually process um, what's happening to me, instead of like staying in victim mode. I always go back to asking, like, why is this happening to me, and what can I learn from it, and how can I move forward from it, so
So, so first, I want to say thank you for touching on the calling thing. It reminds me of, I watched an Oprah interview, and she talked about when she was creating her school in Africa, and she was talking
mhm,
to Maya Angelou, and she said, "This is my legacy, and this is what I'm going to leave behind, and this is whatever." And she said, Maya Angelou said, "Hush, like you don't know what your legacy is, because your legacy is the things that you do for people, other people.
mhm,
Never actually truly know what your legacy ends up being, because that's what's going to be left behind when you're no longer here, and it's going to be determined by the things that you actually did for people in this world." So I think it's interesting to talk about. You're gonna it's just going to evolve over time, because especially
mhm.
if you look at people like Oprah, it's like she started off at the very bottom, and now look, and who would have known that that would have been her legacy when that happened. This is
Yeah.
her legacy where she's at. But the other thing is that little tidbit that you gave segues wonderfully into the way that I wrap up the show, and is, if you
Mhm,
were to give away 3 pieces of advice for someone coming up, and I believe
mhm.
you already gave one, but if you have
Yeah.
3, what would those be? So I think, ask yourself why is this happening to me, in an empowered
Mhm.
way, versus looking at it from a victim mindset. So what would 2 other ones be then?
I think a lot of people also get the reason that people have a lot of doubts with themselves is because they're also experiencing, we see too much things, especially on the internet now, right? We hear so many things that are being told to us that we should be doing by this age. You should be having some kids and family by this time. You should have a successful business by this time. You should be married and have kids. um, it can put doubt in your mind whether you're really doing the right thing. So for me, it's always the way that I do it is to, whenever I feel like there's just a lot of information and like noise coming to me, I always take a step back and focus in listening to myself and my inner voice. And like, probably you're asking, how can you start listening to your inner voice? Um, Well, one of the things, of course, is like now being more and more consistent with my meditation every day. Just to take a quiet time to really focus on nothing, if that makes sense. Because every day, you're thinking so many things about work, about what you should do, what you should cook, where to pay the bills, but thinking about like nothing and just focusing on being calm and being at peace while not doing anything really helps a lot because it helps you gain clarity. And yeah, one way to take a step back as well is to remove yourself from what you feel is affecting you. So that could be social media. So take a social media detox. I actually took a 1 month social media detox last year. And again, because I was not feeling like myself at the time because I was hearing so much noise, and I took a social media detox. I actually helped. I actually asked help from a hypnotherapist to condition myself to feel aligned again to who I really feel I am inside. And I think that has been a tremendous change for me. Shout out to Clay Moffat. It was a good experience. And yeah, besides meditating, just do take away yourself from the noise that's happening around you. I did a social media detox and remove yourself from anything that you think is affecting you in a negative way. That might be cutting out some toxic relationships, toxic friends, toxic family. You don't necessarily have to, well, if they're like super toxic, maybe you have to cut them out. But you don't necessarily have to completely just shut them out of your life. You just have to sort of limit your presence with them. So yeah, that really helps. So one is the first one that I said. Wait, what was the first one that I said?
The first one is ask yourself why. Why?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
life is never happening to us, and I agree with that totally. That's my concept is like going through all like this other stuff that's gone through us. Okay, well, why is this happening? Like, okay, well, what needs to be taken care of because of this? And it's and sometimes, and I'll say this from my own perspective, I'd like to add this for anybody who's going through this. When you're going through a lot of life shifts, like this had to really be brought to me, like especially when it involves something like your kids or someone personal. It is really necessary to take a step back. And for anybody who is similar to me, like the idea of when I was going into 2020, I was like, I'm gonna hit this full force. I'm like gonna go, and then it's just like, nope, you're gonna stop and chill for a moment. Like so, but giving myself permission to take a step back and, like you said, take that step back and breathe and go, okay. I went to the chiropractor today, and he's like, you're completely out of alignment. And you know what they say, your physical body is simply a manifestation of what you have going on.
That's so true.
Yeah, to piggyback on what you say, it's really important to take a step back. And that, for me, I don't know anybody who's like me, but that'll freak you out. Like that freaks me out. Like, oh my God, I have to stop like everything. But those are those things that you have to ask yourself, like, what is going on that's bringing this? So if your life is what seems to be chaos, you are on the cusp of your breakthrough. But that's, like you said, it's going to be required of you to take a step back and go, okay, well, what's needed to break through? So,
Exactly.
Why is this happening to me?
Yeah, so the first one is like, why is this happening to me? Take your time to analyze that and figure out where you are because it's teaching you a lesson. So instead of you trying to feel all these negative things and react to it, because I know a lot of people are, when things happen to them, the immediate response is to react instead of like take a step back and think. So yeah, just take a step back. 2 is like meditation, honestly, and just take a quiet time for yourself and to breathe and just try not to think about anything else except just having a peaceful moment with yourself. Um, and then, of course, the third one is to remove yourself from situations that is making you not feel your best self. So, yeah, ever since actually I started, these are the things I do. I do them from I do them a lot now. Before it was just like when I'm already in the mood, like okay, I'm already like feeling better. I'm already feeling positive, and I forget doing these things again until life brings you back to that feeling like shit, sorry. And then I would remember, wait a second, maybe I need to analyze again. Maybe I need to take a step back and breathe again. Maybe I need to remove myself from toxic people again. So it's always a constant process. And lately, because I've been consistent with it, like right now I feel so aligned with what I have done. Actually, especially starting last year, since I had that session with Clay, I have more direction on what I want to be doing moving forward. And once I got that clarity, a lot of opportunities have been coming my way as well. I addressed one thing I knew I needed to move forward with my goals I had for myself. So I got myself a business coach, and he's doing amazing for me. And ever since, like, now I'm finally getting distraction and momentum. So before, when I was getting distraction and momentum, like, I would just go push through and then again um, forget all the things that I have learned in terms of like meditating and taking care of myself. Right now, I'm able to move forward and do things more consistently because I made it my priority this year to protect my mental health space. So ever since I started doing that, work is amazing. My relationship is amazing. I have a loving, amazing, supportive relationship right now. We're doing a lot of things together. He's helping me out in terms of my business as well with funnels. He helps. He's the one who's helping build funnels for our clients because I focus more on the strategy aspect. And then I help him with his business as well. He's getting into affiliate marketing too, and he's been his obsession has always been with getting fit and eating the proper nutrition. So now he's making it his mission to help other people out there as well to get to that level where they don't just take care of themselves internally, but they also take care of their physical body because you cannot, pursue your goals and all that if the shell that you're working on is you're not taking care of it. So yeah, I feel pretty amazing actually right now. And it might sound weird, but for a long time, I feel like I am the person right now that I was meant to be. Before I was trying to pursue like, oh, this is Samantha. I need to be that better person. I'm trying to go and work towards that goal, right? But now instead of like trying to work towards that person that I imagine myself to be, it's just I don't hope or want that anymore because I already know I am that person. So yeah, it's been amazing journey, and now I feel like I'm in a more clear path, and I can't wait what other things are going to happen for me, good or bad. I'm gonna take them as it is and just learn from it and move forward.
That was the best way to close that out. So yes, that was awesome. So thank you so much. And this is the last part of the show where let everybody know what it is that you do, as far as what do you offer, how can they interact with you, and then we will close this out.
Yeah, so as you guys may know by now, yes, I'm a launch strategist. I help people who are getting started with creating their online courses, and not just anyone who's creating online courses. It's I want to help people out there who also have a mission to help other people, because when we help other people and we create more of an impact to help them, then I feel like there's going to be a huge positive change for everyone. So if you feel like a mission that you want to share with them, with others, whether that's helping people become more better with building their business because they're building their business for their family, or even if they're building a six-figure, seven-figure business, and you're doing that because that's where you feel that's what you feel your mission is. Because when you're able to earn more, then you're able to help more people. If that's your mission, then that's cool. Yeah, I help people with who feel they have a mission, and create more impact and bringing that mission that they want to have, that they have, and turn that expertise into an online course. So of course, um, again, like it's people think either it's too easy or it's too hard. It's not. It's actually pretty simple. You just have to follow the right steps. So if you need any help with that, actually, I'm gonna be for you guys who are watching in Ashley's program and in Ashley's group. If you are planning to actually launch an online course, or you're in the process of launching your course already and you're having a hard time, I'm opening up a free consultation for 5 people for next week. So you can, because my calendar is pretty full right now, for next week already. So we can walk through your process, and I'm going to share with you like the step-by-step things that you need to do to ensure that when you do launch your program, you're going to not help a lot of people and reach out to a lot of people, but you're going to benefit from it and make an income out of it as well, and make sure that it's going to be profitable. So yeah.
Well, thank you for that. That is awesome, you guys. So yes, please take advantage of that, because I know, and if you catch us on the replay again, put hashtag replay. Let us know. I know there are a few women on my platform that I've seen out there. They're like, I'm getting ready to release a course. Da, da, da. I'm like, oh, okay, I want that. So you never know who that one person is, that is going to come across. Oh, and hopefully you get the 5 people. Hopefully you get the 5
Yeah.
people. Thank you so
much. I'm pretty sure I get that 5 people. I'm sure. Actually have it's as long as you're giving something to them to help out without expectation. Again, I'm not charging for this. I'm doing this for free for you guys. So if you need help with that, I'm here.
Yeah. So you guys, and Carrie says that was really inspirational. Nice job. Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
So thank you so much, Samantha, for coming on. Thank you for being willing to reschedule. I'm really glad we got to do this. That was awesome. I always say it's for the one woman, but sometimes I think on most shows that I am the one woman who needs to hear the message, because it's like you guys always mirror back something that I need to listen to. So
yeah.
So much. I truly appreciate it. Deborah says, "Oh, thank you, ladies. Thank you, Deborah. Deborah was on the show too. Oh my gosh."
Oh.
So, yeah, she is a relationship coach, relationship and marriage coach. So she had a lot of really good gems about how to cultivate having a great relationship and communication and all that. So fantastic. But thank you guys, as always. I want to take just a moment to express that episode 50 is next Tuesday. I'm so grateful for all the 49 episodes that have got us here. Thank you guys, like Samantha, thank every lady that's been on this show. Without you guys, obviously this like tough woman table would not exist. Or just a little like idea I had in my, and so I'm always very appreciative that you guys come up in this space and you share your story. And as always, I say, I don't feel like I say this enough, but I probably do. Thank you to everybody that comes on and supports this show. Like that means the absolute world to me because, like you said before, before we get off here, you never really know what it is your calling is to do until you accidentally stumble upon that. And I sometimes think that things are supposed to look one way, and then I do this show and I'm going, well, I wonder if the calling is just to help more women share their story. You never know, but I always feel that by by one woman sharing her story, it's going to give another woman the ability to go, okay, that I can do that too. I can overcome all that and overcome the self-doubt and move forward with my life. So I'm always appreciative. So I hope everybody can make it to episode 50. The woman who's coming on here, I am insanely excited for because I've literally seen her from the beginning of her journey into what she's doing now. And for her to actually be coming on the show and sharing her story is like insanely huge. So, yes. So thank you, Samantha, and everybody else who has paved the way for women like her to come on and share that story. So I'm very excited. So everybody, thank you. Please be on next Tuesday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's going to be episode 50. I might get like a really weird hat that says something like weird. I don't know. Just really exciting. Maybe some balloons. But thank you so much, Samantha. I truly appreciate your time and your expertise and just your authenticity. That was really I feel like I learned a lot from it. So everybody, make sure you go reach out to Samantha if you are looking to release a course. I know Deborah has released a course. So if you're thinking about it, please reach out to her. She is incredibly knowledgeable, very helpful. So I highly recommend her, you guys. And as always, I will see you guys next Tuesday for episode. All right. So much love, you guys. See you Tuesday. Bye.
Bye. Thank you, guys.